Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Critical Podcast. My name is Jimmy Good, and I am your host. And joining me this week is our go-to podcast compadre, Mr. Joe Lever.
Mr. Good, good evening.
Good evening
if
to you.
If I were to say, he left us. He left us.
I would say, that's not what I'm going to do. That's right, Jurassic Park quotes right off the bat. Also, we got Levi Fletcher here too, buddy. How are you?
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, what were you doing, Levi? Were you admiring something?
You're playing with my sword.
Only I hope people saw that you have a real sword there.
For all you listeners that aren't watching the actual video.
Yeah, the audio listeners are like, what? But anyway, hi, man. How are you doing?
The day critical reviews went R-rated.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, we're going to talk about ratings very soon, so what a great transition. But anyway, thank you to all of our Legionnaires who are showing up to hang out with us. And if you're new here, we talk about video games, movies, TV shows, comic books, music, a bunch of stuff depending on what we feel like. But this week, we want to talk about ratings. Yes, we want to talk about the ESRB. These are the folks that like to, add the T for teen and all that. But to kind of get around the whole loot box issue, they decided to add a little something. So apparently now they're going to add a label that will be applied to games with in-game offers to purchase digital goods or premiums with real-world currency. This includes, but is not limited to, bonus levels, skins, surprise items such as item packs, loot boxes, mystery awards, music, virtual coins, and other forms of in-game currency, subscription, season passes, and upgrades.
So pretty much every game coming out from here to the end of time.
Yeah, it seems that way. I kind of want to ask you guys about this because I thought it was interesting that they're trying to make headway on this because it's been controversial. I think Star Wars Battlefront 2 is the biggest, problem that we've seen, that like Hawaii is trying to get this thing where it's like if you have loot boxes in gaming, it's considered like gambling. But like Levi, where do you stand on this? Do you think it's a good idea to add this to games?
I'm getting kind of mixed feelings on that. Is it for the kids? I mean, is it so that parents know their kids might buy extra stuff? I mean, who's this for?
Because it's their parents' credit card for their Xbox Live subscription, and it's the card on file.
Yeah.
So every time they go buy stuff, they're spending money on their parents. And
exactly. Well, yeah.
Parents aren't used to this. So it's like, I mean, who's this for? Great. Can we just X the loot boxes instead?
That'd be nice. I wish. The only problem is we know that they make a lot of money. Ubisoft even talked about they made just tons of money. Blizzard's talked about they make tons of money off loot boxes, so they're not going anywhere. And if they could monetize and kind of add towards the overall funding of the game, post-launch, I see why they want to keep them around. I think this is just to maybe also avoid some of the problems that politicians are kind of going after games for, and it's trying to avoid having like true government regulation like that on games. I don't know if the ESRB, I'm not as familiar with it yet, so I don't think they're government funded, but I think that's one of the main reasons. But yeah, you guys, you hit the nail on the head. There are kids out there. There's like one case where kids spent like $10,000 on in-game purchases, and the parents are like, what? Like, it's like,
no,
like, yeah, like, like, it's like that.
That's reminds me of a funny story. My friend Tyler from work, I'm like, dude, do you play Monster Hunter World? And he's like, well, no, my 1-year-old son actually got a hold of my Xbox controller and he bought it for me. So now I am. And I'm like, he's got good taste.
Oh my gosh, the kid's been watching the show.
Yeah.
Perfect. That got the kid. That's hilarious. He's like Monster 1 year. Wait, how did the 1-year-old kid?
This is Tyler's kid. Tyler's little boy that we play sometimes Heroes with.
1-year-old kid got that.
Well, the kid was just messing around with the controller and just accidentally bought it.
Okay, well that's good on Microsoft, or like was it whoever did it, Monster Hunter World. Capcom's like, we got to pay for that top billing on that ad spot. So if anybody's babies are playing with the controller, they'll accidentally buy it.
Babies.
That is really funny. Yeah, I thought this was just interesting. We'll see where it goes. Apparently, this label will appear separately from your like T for teen, rated M for mature kind of stuff, and it's not going to be like inside it. But it reminds me back when I was a pretty young kid getting into N64 stuff. Back in the day, we didn't even look. We didn't know the ESRB ratings, what that meant. And I picked up Turok on N64, and it was rated M, and I didn't realize that. So we brought it home, and I was like, stabbing dinosaurs, and I was like, I'm such a goody two shoes. I like went to my parents. I'm like, I don't know if I should be playing this. And they're like, what does this mean? What is M? Oh, it says mature on here. Like, we shouldn't let Jimmy play this. And like that was the moment that I was like, now
They're
it's
like,
time for violence. Like
the dinosaur's bleeding. Is he gonna wake up?
yeah. I was like, oh no, this is a lot different than Mario. So
God.
So
How old were you? I gotta know.
I gotta be maybe like 7 or 8, maybe. I was a good kid.
Apparently, wouldn't hurt a fly.
But the thing is, maybe that even though they're gonna put this on there, I wonder how many people are gonna notice it. I think people have gotten more savvy as far as like buying video games now, because you have to research it. It is a lot of money to a lot of people, so you have to look into that. But I wonder if just having that like in-game purchases available, like people will be like, like it'll be on every box. Levi, you're totally right. Like there's not going to be a lot of games that won't have that, I don't think.
That's why I'm like, who is this for? Who's it really for?
The thing is, do you even think that, is it a kid issue? I mean, how old does a kid have to be playing games online?
Yeah, that's the thing. That's a good question, because a lot of these things are through parental accounts, so they can get an M-rated or a T-rated game even if they're like 10 or whatever. But I don't know. I think if they have the online connectivity and they're not supposed to be playing it, like you're still probably going to find like bad stuff if there was like an online game for anything, like an E for Everyone game. I'm sure if you could have like voice chat and stuff, it's not like everyone's going to be like, oh, hello, let me help you with this quest. Like, oh, that's okay that you died. Let's try it together. It's like, it's not going to be probably not like that. So
yeah, exactly.
I don't know who is it for? Probably for concerned parents and maybe the government, but who knows? We'll see how that goes. And the weird thing is too, for us, a lot of us here, I was talking about this today, even with a friend of mine. I've been getting my games digitally, so it'll still probably pop up there. It might pop up as like a little thing, but I don't really have a lot of game cases. I'm not collecting those anymore, so I wouldn't have to deal with that anyway. I just assume that all these games have that built into them at some degree, like Monster Hunter World even has them, but Levi, you bought one the other day, but it's like, it was completely optional. Like you just like, I wanted this thing. I want to support the game.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Feels
and
good. That's how games used to be.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I'm hoping that with the success of Monster Hunter World, that will just be something that they consider going forward. Add the optional stuff if you want to. That's all I'm trying to say. That's all I'm trying to say. All right, we're moving on from kind of weird news to maybe good news. We'll see what you guys think about this. Joss Whedon, everybody's favorite director from Avengers Age of Ultron, and Justice League, sort of, stepped away from Batgirl. He was going to direct Batgirl, but he came out with this. He said, Batgirl is such an exciting project, and Warner/DC such collaborative and supportive partners that it took me months to realize I really didn't have a story. I'm grateful to Jeff and Toby and everyone who was so welcoming when I arrived and so understanding when I, is there a sexier word for failed? Now, this comes at an interesting time because there was kind of some scandal and some drama behind the scenes with Joss and like being unfaithful to his wife. And I'm wondering that if he was not necessarily, if he walked away from the project because he didn't have a story, but also maybe because Warner's was like, we're going to fire you. Or maybe they did, and this is just to save face. Joe, what do you think? Do you think how do you feel about this? Like, kind of weird, right?
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, I'm surprised he used the word, given the accusations outside of work. I'm kind of surprised he used the words. Is there a sexier word for failed?
Yeah, I think that's
maybe leave the word sex out of the thing. Huh?
Yeah, it's probably true.
I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, who gives a crap? I mean, the stinking guy was dumb enough to mess around and put his career in jeopardy, but he's already made it. Call her a day.
Yeah, well, I think we've talked about Batgirl a few times on here, Joe. Levi, are you interested at all in this film? Would you want to see this happen? Do you care who directs it?
I have really no interest in this film. I mean, I did like Ben Affleck in Justice League, but I couldn't care for him anymore in just Batman vs Superman.
Sure.
Was this supposed to be a film, or was this supposed to be
Yeah, it's supposed to be a standalone film. Mm-hmm.
Ah, man.
Batgirl.
No,
did they pick anybody?
Yeah.
No, they're working on it.
Yeah.
It's like, why don't you just put your resources in places that work for you? Churn out those Wonder Woman sequels. Churn out those.
Yeah, call Patty Jenkins. That's who I want to direct this movie. I'd be like,
exactly.
Just call Patty. Just call
Get
Patty.
the money into the important stuff.
Yeah, get another. Let's get a good Green Lantern film. Let's get another sequel to Justice League.
Yeah. I think, we say important stuff, but what I would say is like I think they should try to figure out what they're doing with Batman first before they do Batgirl. And I would say the same thing on like a standalone Nightwing film or a Robin film. I'd be like, let's not worry so much about this when we're not sure. It just seems a little odd. It's like, why would we do like if we can't get a good Superman film, why would we be like, let's make a Supergirl movie, especially when we have like the TV show? It's like, let's try to focus on like trying to make these things work and then add that stuff. It's not like Marvel went in and they're like, let's do Miles Morales right away instead of Peter Parker for Spider-Man. They're like, we'll get to it. Like, we'll work to it, build this character up, and then we'll have a protege. So problem is with Ben Affleck being out, it's kind of like, well, do you introduce Batgirl and then have a new Batman who might be Jake Gyllenhaal, teach her how to do stuff? I seem like Joss Whedon, I think, is a good pick for directing a film like this because he's done Buffy, he's done Firefly, he did Dollhouse. He knows how to do those types of things with like a strong female lead for action. But after all this stuff, it's like, and plus it just means another weird thing for DC. But apparently Aquaman, they've had test screenings for it or something, and people just love it so much. So we'll see how it goes. I'm hoping good things from Momoa because like I did like him. I call him Aqua Bro Man, but like he's still fun.
My
man. Yeah, I looked at the end of the our Justice League review and I just like saw that little bit again. I was like, yeah, that was.
Yeah, let's get our current Batman fleshed out and taken care of first and set.
Agreed. I didn't even know there was a Batgirl until 5 minutes before the podcast.
You didn't know there was a Batgirl?
I honestly, I guess it kind of did. I've never seen her featured anywhere. Nothing against female leads. None of that stuff.
Well, you're not a huge Bat fan, like right?
Not really. I mean, a little bit. I like Batman Beyond stuff. I think that's kind of fun. But
see, and the cool thing is Barbara Gordon plays the commissioner in that show. She's like an older woman in that show, and that's like his contact with the police force, which is really cool because like he's like, "Yep, I'm working for your old boss, Bruce." And like you're the commissioner now, and like that's cool. I like an old wizened Barbara, but Bruce Wayne's a weirdo. He just takes a bunch of kids and he's like, "I'll have you jump off buildings with me and fight people." It's like, all right, buddy, do what you need to do. But yeah, so there you go. That's how we feel about it. I want to know what everyone else feels about this movie. I want to see a really good DC film first, like a really good one. But speaking of strong females, because perfect segues. Brigitte, new Overwatch hero that just got announced like today, which was perfect. And because we've loved Overwatch in the past, I felt like we had to talk about her just a little bit. New support champion. So, guys, I want to read
support or tank.
She is support. I wanted to read this little blip off of the Overwatch website for anybody who's like, okay, what is she? Oh, by the way, she's kind of like the squire for Reinhardt. If you guys have seen any of the old Reinhardt like comic and stuff like that, and he refers to her. But anyway, Brigitte is
like a mechanic or something.
Yeah,
built armor.
Might be Torbjorn's daughter, maybe. Anyway, she specializes in armor. She can throw repair packs to heal teammates or automatically heal nearby allies when she damages foes with her flail. Her flail is capable of a wide swing to strike multiple targets or a whip shot that stuns an enemy at range. When entering the fray, barrier shield provides personal defense while she attacks enemies with Shield Bash. Brigitte's ultimate ability, Rally, gives her a substantial short-term boost of speed and provides long-lasting armor to all her nearby allies. So kind of an interesting paladin cleric type, like a mini Reinhardt, kind of has the Torbjorn flair with the armor. Like if she throws you a healing pack, you're at full health, it'll give you armor instead. A lot of armor-based stuff. But I like the swing of her melee attack. It's like pretty wide. Like, Joe, how do you feel about this character? Do you like her?
No, I like her. I just, her healing, if she's a support character, her healing better be somewhat decent. Her shield isn't a huge impact unless you're standing directly in front of somebody. But then the person behind you, they shoot through you. I don't know. They're blinded. So, I don't know. It's an interesting character, and if used in the right way, maybe, effective. But I don't... appealing, but not a favorite top character contender kind of deal.
Well, and remind people like what your favorite types of character is in like Overwatch or are in Overwatch.
Well, Reaper for sure, but actually, I'm a big fan of Reinhardt. I figure he's pretty straightforward and kind of brooding, but in a brute. But I like charging in, swinging the hammer, the shielding, and being able to kind of plant your feet a little bit.
Yeah.
And then bait people into walking in front of you. And, it's like being a quarterback, leading the ball,
The charge?
ahead of the receiver, leading the receiver to the ball. So
classic quarterback running straight down the middle. Mm-hmm.
No, you know what I mean. You got to lead the shot a little bit. This person's running here. You got to aim here because by the time you get going, they're there. Boom. Reinhardt timing, clutch. I was digging him a lot when I kind of came to an end playing there. Roadhog's gotten a lot more fun with his recent changes, but they're still a strong game. I just I don't know if I prefer. I'm a very aesthetic, judgy type person that way. Maybe that makes me shallow. I don't know. I don't care. But I love the look of like a Reaper. I love the look of a Reinhardt. Her, I know they haven't shown any skins or possible looks for her, but she seems pretty bland.
Yeah, she'll probably have like a Reinhardt armor skin. I wouldn't be surprised to see that.
That would be cool, but something a little more poppy.
Yeah, sure. And as a Reinhardt player, as someone who loved him, it might be kind of like a step in a weird direction that you don't necessarily want to take because you love her. Mm-hmm. I think this is for people who don't like Reinhardt. They're like, oh, I kind of want to heal, but I also want to be like getting in there like Reinhardt. Levi, what do you think of the character? Are you a fan of this? Do you like this kind of off-tank, off-support kind of brand?
Yeah, I'm actually more excited to hear the little quips behind the scenes when you're getting ready for a match or something. I love that stuff more about Overwatch than the actual game itself. I love the lore. I love the character stories. I love hearing them go back and forth with each other. The banter. That actually makes it for me. She looks like a cool character. I'm down with her being Torbjorn's daughter. I'm down with her being Reinhardt's apprentice. Her kit looks cool. I think that she's going to make a good addition. I mean, we need more support characters. We need more,
True.
We need more female characters, actually, in addition.
Well, I was talking to Joe beforehand. They've released 6 new characters, and 5 of them have been female. Aris is a robot, but kind of. And I haven't looked at the split recently, and I don't know what it is. Not that really should matter, but I was like, oh, it's kind of interesting. So I was like, oh yeah, Doomfist. They had one dude. It was Doomfist.
I wonder if maybe they got some, pushback when they first released Overwatch, and they're like too male dominated.
Sure. Yeah. And I remember in the beginning too, like they had the most like in the offense tree, and I was like, okay, I get it. Like they want to do that. And Levi, make a.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, please, after you.
I was going to say, the characters work as females. I mean, I can't imagine a male Sombra running around.
Sure, yeah, it wouldn't be as cool. Yeah. I think that you make a really good point, though. Talking about the quips and stuff, I think that's going to make people want to pick her if people pick Reinhardt as a main tank. And I think, and picking that and saying like, okay, does she play well with Reinhardt? Because it would suck to like bring her into the game and be like, well, she does everything Reinhardt does, so you don't need both of them, and you'd like waste all the potential interactions where it's like, he's yelling at her like for armor, and she's like, I'm coming, like kind of thing. like that's gonna be like, you're totally right. That's the stuff where you're like, excellent, like the little bits.
I think she has much more mobility than Reinhardt does, so I feel like that's gonna be a game changer for her.
Well, it's more, I think, versatility, because I'd say Reinhardt, he could just kind of run, but like her ability to like stun people, her shield she can put up, she can also shield bash and stun people. So she's got like a little bit of CC everywhere, plus that armor, but like she kind of is to me is like an off support. Like she has to work with a Mercy or maybe a Symmetra in tandem, because I don't think she's the person who's constantly healing the team like by herself. I don't think she does enough.
She does have some. Her survivability is pretty high, I would think.
Yeah, and for a support, that's usually not the case. Like she can kind of wade into the battle and like throw the armor out and like shield herself, whereas others would be like, you got to get out of there. Like, get out of there.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting, the release of this character when we just got Orisa. Like,
No, we had Moira last.
Well, I mean, but we just got a character like with the shields and with that kind of tankiness.
Sure. I guess I understand what you're saying. I wonder too if we're starting to see a point where they're kind of running out of not necessarily ideas, but like saying like, all right, let's take this thing that's good on one hero and change it, because like that's what the tech would be in this world. Like she has a smaller shield than Reinhardt. It's only a 600 shield, and it's right in front of her mostly. So yeah, I know what you mean. And Orisa, I don't think picked up the same way they wanted her to. Same with Sombra. Sombra was teased forever, and then she came out and people were like, like, you know, but I don't know the Overwatch like Pro League. Maybe those characters are both perfect, and I just don't understand it. Like, which I've kind of have wanted to watch those matches because I've heard they can get pretty crazy. And
I have watched a little bit of it. I've got little clips of it.
Are they amazing?
Intense.
Are they good?
It's intense. It's kind of crazy how strategic they are and everything they do.
Yeah, look at that, coordinating alts.
Yeah, well, for them, that's their job. It's I mean, they're better than I ever would be. Their survivability is very high. I just
it's like they're playing a mayhem on normal. Just like their normal is mayhem for them. They're like, I'm just alive the whole time doing all this stuff.
Kinda, yeah. It's not constant death, you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that's cool. I do want to watch it sometime. And I know that they pumped a lot of money into supporting it. Like you can go like to the arenas and stuff and see it. Like I would be interested in seeing that or covering that for an event, being like, oh, it's pretty cool. You know? So apparently they do place hype people in the crowd though to make sure that like, you know, they keep it lively.
Oh,
like, yeah, that's just a production thing. You know, you gotta make it cool.
They're holding your cards. Cheer.
Yeah. I don't know if we've done this in the past, and we don't really need to do this necessarily for this character. But let's hype-ometer on this character. I'll go first. You know, I might hop in and play a match or two just to see what she's like, just to kind of go back because that's the whole point of adding stuff like this. It's like adding a new monster to Monster Hunter and be like, oh yeah, I'll come back and check it out. But I think she's pretty cool. I like the off-take idea. I'm saying like 80 out of 100 for me personally, hypometer-wise. Like I think she's neat. I want to see her other skins though. I bet she's gonna have a cool one where she's like all black and red. That's what I want. That's all I want.
Well, until I see more looks for her, I'll give her a 7 based on what I know. And
7.
I saw her abilities.
7 out of 10 or 70 out of 100.
Either way.
Okay, if it was a 7 out of 100, I'd be like
70%. We'll just say that.
Levi, how about you, man? What do you think? Where do you put this one for you personally? Remember, this is personal. It doesn't need to be like you have to feel like you have to put a certain number by it.
Yeah, I'll give her 8.5. I think like I said, I think her kit looks really cool. I like the non-BS release that they're doing with this character. I mean, they've had a little bit of teasing, but nothing like months and months and months.
Sure, which it never lives up to it.
Yeah, I like the lore too. So,
out of all the people who they've announced so far that have been new to the game since launch, for me personally, no one has been as cool or as interesting as Ana has. I think the archetype of like an old sniper who heals you is really cool. Like for you guys, is there any of these newer ones where you're like, wow, that's like the coolest idea? Even maybe if the execution wasn't there. Like Levi, do you have one like out of the 6 that have come out? I think.
Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of Orisa. Orisa, I don't know how to use Reese's Puffs. I did not like her at all. That hype build up, and then it was just like, what? And then the Doomfist we got, the kit that he had, I mean, it's cool, but I don't know. Yeah.
But which one is? Do you have a favorite out of those besides like?
A favorite? Yeah.
Who's your favorite? And who's the biggest letdown?
Yeah, favorite is Ana. Biggest letdown is Orisa. Sombra, not bad actually. She's pretty cool.
If played correctly, she can be great.
Yeah, played correctly. I mean, she does have a great shutdown, so
for sure.
Yeah, and Doomfist not a big fan, but
yeah. I mean, Joe, how about you, man? Favorite and least?
Biggest letdown, Doomfist.
Yeah, I think I agree.
The only time he's really decent is in Mayhem mode, where you can just punch people all the time, constantly, forever. Annoying. My favorite that they released. Who do we got? We got Moira, Ana, Orisa, Doomfist, Brigitte. Who's the other one?
Did you say Sombra?
Sombra.
I think. Yeah. Is Sombra your favorite? I know you played her for a time or two. You like SMG.
You know, I'll have some good fun with Sombra, but I don't think she's my favorite. I think of the new characters that they released since the game release. I think my favorite would be. Now my names are all scrambled up.
I was really hoping you'd just be like, Doomfist is like my favorite. You're like, Doomfist is the baseline. But he's also my favorite.
I think Ana's pretty cool. Like you said, execution, I think they could have done some things a little differently for her. I would like it if Ana had some verticality.
Okay, I wanted to bring that up because it really bothers me. In her debut, they show her on the Egypt level up top, and she's sitting up there like sniping and stuff. I'm like, cool. How does she get up there? She can't. She can't. She just can't do it, at least by herself. I was like, guys, that's such a lie.
Yeah, she should have been doing a wall run.
Yeah, like
I expected a Hanzo ability,
or at least like a grapple hook. I mean, I know she's like an older lady, but like, come on now. Yeah, something about her. I also love that Shriek or Shrike skin where she's got like the full mask on and she looks like kind of like a techno assassin. I'm like, oh, that's really cool.
I like the oh god, what is the one? It's like the gas mask one where she's like all
the Wadjet and stuff. She's like the Mad Max. Yeah, dude, it's so sick. Yeah, honest.
And the Halloween deal for her was great.
She just always walk up, put you to sleep, and then do the whole like drinking tea. You're like,
or the candy thing, or the candy. I loved it.
You're like, thanks, guys. You're like, cool. That sounds cool. Yeah,
it was good.
She's a cool character. But yeah, I think Brigitte will fall somewhere in the middle between the letdowns of what Doomfist and Orisa are, and some of the better ones like Sombra and Ana. And Moira is still kind of weird, but we'll see how this goes. I think Doomfist is weird because they painted themselves into a corner. They just made up that name. Chris Metzen even said back in the days, like, yeah, we just came up with names. And then people were like, when's Doomfist happening? And then you bring a melee-focused person like that into a shooter, and you give him like a little shooty thing. It's like, but
yeah,
like for people,
it's kind of dumb.
if you like Genji, like if you really are good with like a Genji, I'm sure Doomfist is so much fun, but I am not technically very good at the game, like with most anybody. But you put me with someone who needs to be moving constantly, Doomfist, and it's like, so
I'd break the controller eventually.
Yeah, but I wonder. We're adding more and more characters like this, though. I wonder if we're still going to get some sort of single-player thing eventually, where it's like, oh, you can play like a co-op mode, where it's like you play Reinhardt and someone else plays Brigitte, and you go through like a level together. Like, that would be really cool.
They kind of did do something similar. It's just not quite like a campaign.
Well, it's like a PvE mode where you're playing against a bunch of robots and stuff, which was fun and it was tough, but yeah.
Do we miss Overwatch at all? General consensus? I'd say yeah.
Levi, do you miss Overwatch?
Well, sorry, Blizzard, but Capcom has really got me, really has had me hooked since January.
Well, yeah, for sure. Monster Hunter has taken over, right? Monster Hunter is great, but
for now, it's been a month.
Now.
Yeah, I won't forget about Overwatch. That's for sure.
Yeah, well, I won't forget about it, but like, I don't know. I think there are some things that I do miss about it. I think it's a phenomenal game, and the support they've put towards it's admirable, but that's what they needed to do to keep it around. Mm-hmm. And I like seeing, the new heroes. That means that they're still going to support this thing. Do I wish that there was some sort of Overwatch 2 in the future? Sure. Yeah, that'd be great. But I think with what they're doing now, we'll just have this for the next 4 or 5 years at least. And then when they exhaust all that, they'll be like, all right, let's do Overwatch 2. So
are we basic? So does that mean a great game like that, game of the year, all that good stuff? Are we saying that there's a shelf life with every game?
There is.
Give it a year and it's done.
I say
so we're almost $60 for a 1 year membership to a game.
We've been to we're like a year and a half though, man. Like we're coming up on 2 years pretty dang quick. Like, and that's amazing for a first person shooters to still be relevant, because you look at Call of Duty, you even look at like a Titanfall or Battlefield, and those ones are just like here and gone. Like, you're like, oh, I got the next one's coming. But like Overwatch is like, hey, we're still here and we're still big. And people still love us.
Yeah, so with them, there's so much uniqueness though. It's hard to do every 2 years we come out with a new one. It's got to be few and far in between with them, because there's so many ideas that have to be, pumped out of the think tank. So
yeah, I don't miss it just because I feel like it's always present.
I never got too addicted to Overwatch where I just like I wanted to really just play that. Overwatch was one of those games that you could just pick up, play a couple matches, just like Heroes for me. Pick up, play a couple matches, and then you can put down and go about your whatever.
That's the weird thing about Heroes of the Storm for me, though. And Joe, I would absolutely love to have you try MOBA sometime. But like, I can step away from Heroes of the Storm for like 3 or 4 months, and then I hop in for like pretty hardcore for like a month or two, and I'm just like, this is so much fun. I play like every night, and then I'm just like, I just walk away from it. And like, I bought into that like a long time ago. It was like $40, but now it's free, and it's just like, yeah, everything in that game you can get like with the in-game currency, and I'm like, cool, like heroes and skins and stuff. I'm like, sure. So yeah, I love stepping back into that. Overwatch is a little different because I think the strategy is so dependent on playing with friends and working together, and that's where the fun is derived for me from that. So, and not that Heroes isn't fun with friends. I love it with friends. Sometimes it's more stressful with friends, but I think Heroes is a little more malleable in that way. Whereas Overwatch, I love just working together with people, and that's what the most fun is.
I don't see Monster Hunter, like, just to that point of, like Joe said, like, he won't forget about Overwatch. But honestly, I feel like Monster Hunter, even though it's only been out for a month, I feel like that's going to really be cemented for the lifespan of the Xbox One for me. And, when we move on to future generations, I'm going to think back on this game as, like, a top title for Xbox One. Just like I look at Fable as, like, one of the top, and Halo as top titles of Xbox, and so on and so forth. I can look back on each generation and pick out favorites.
Yeah. Well, that's my hope too, is that like this game won't get forgotten, as the year progresses. Not that really happened, but it's a year anniversary to Horizon Zero Dawn. So happy anniversary, Horizon. You were a great game. I love you so much. But I think back to that game, and like it just came out at a year where like Zelda came out the same year, and it was like, like if it would have come out any other year, people would have been like Horizon's game of the year. But like Zelda was there, and people were like Zelda's game of the year. So if there's nothing else to fight Monster Hunter in that same realm, I think we're going to be talking about this in December, no matter what. Like, we'll be talking about it here. I just hope everyone else is talking about it still, like
the developers had to realize that, though. I mean, when anybody was looking at the year and being like, okay, Nintendo's already, they got their slot. Like, we gotta, it's either do it or don't,
Oh, totally, for sure. I wonder, do you guys think like having Mario come out, like they had to sell the Switch, obviously, but like, I think if it would have been me, I would have been like, maybe we should wait for Mario to come out in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
That way people like
Mario definitely got shoehorned. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it just not rushed either, but like I think there's but it came out at holiday, so I think it still sold really well, and it sold the console really well. So they wanted to get the install base, so that way when they send out Metroid or Pokemon or whatever, people already have it. Because they'd be like, well, it's just Zelda. This is a Zelda console. And it's like, well, we have Zelda and Mario, so it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I hope we're talking about Monster Hunter.
Pokemon soon, and that's going to be the big blockbuster people are waiting for.
Fall. The thing is with Pokemon after Monster Hunter now, like the success of that and the success also of Pokemon Go in the past, like Pokemon, like a lot of big AAA games should take a look at Monster Hunter and say, what are they doing that like people love over here so much, and really try to implement that into that game. Like, I'm not saying hunt Pokemon, but
I was just about to say, I saw this YouTube video of like them going around. Did I show that to you? Them hunting around the link in description. Them going around hunting different Pokemon and adding their Pokemon like to their weapons.
Oh, gross! No, I saw a meme of it and I was like,
yeah, it's funny. But let's not have that as the Pokemon RPG.
Yeah. Kill them all.
Yeah. Well, I'm so excited.
What you're saying, though. Let's have a Pokemon RPG, but not loot boxes, but good gameplay, strong single player.
Yeah, if you want to buy like a Master Sword that goes on your back for $3.99, great. Like for your avatar in that game, like that's perfect. Like I don't care. Like just do that if you have to. But yeah,
if you need to buy Master Balls to freaking progress the story, the Switch is going to be in the toilet.
Yeah, I'd be so angry. It's like, it's only like $2 for a Master Ball. It's like
going to be blended.
I'd be so angry. Yeah. But anyway, to answer your question, Joe, good question. I do miss Overwatch a little bit, but it's never gone. It's not forgotten. It'll always be with me. And that was such a huge game. I put over 200 hours into that game. And yeah, maybe I've almost put that much into Monster Hunter, but it's a different thing. All right. Monster Hunter takes so much more commitment to Monster Hunter. And I love that, because what you put into Monster Hunter, you get back out. Overwatch is intrinsic progression. You're like, man, I'm way better with McCree than I was 40 hours ago, and I might have one new skin for him. But besides that, you got nothing. You got nothing to show. You're like, yep, I played him for 60 hours. I could see the little bar there, and I'm like, they're measuring my life. Like Monster Hunter, there's like, well, there's so much time you put in here, and look at your armor, it's pretty sick. And I'm like, you're darn right. And I see it the whole time. You talk about like looking cool as Reinhardt. That works because he goes to third person perspective with the shield. But with Reaper and stuff, you get those cool outfits, and yeah, your arms and stuff look cool, but you don't see yourself until you do the ultimate. You're like, 95% of the time, you're not looking at that cool outfit. That's why third person games like are so addicting when you can do the loot grind. You're like, oh, I can look at it. Like Destiny, I'm like, cool new gun. How do I look? I don't know. I'll do a dance and look, So that's just another part of it. That's so good.
Let's not bring up the D word.
Oh, Destiny? Yeah. Oh, well. I still posit that's a fun game. It just has issues. Oh, that's all I'm trying to say. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
Jimmy's gonna put in the edit of this of like a little tombstone little graphic. Bungie's career.
It's the same thing that happened like Call of Duty, like sometimes with their map packs. Like if they send them out too quickly, it like divides the community. Because like you go back to it, and it's always sad to go back to a shooter, and you're like, oh cool, I get to play this tonight. I'm just gonna have some fun. It's like, oh, you like loaded up with this map, and you're like, I don't think I have that map, but it's loading me up perfect. And then it's like, you don't have that map, and you're like, I waited 5 minutes, and you said we're loading, and it's like, well, you don't have it, you gotta buy it, and it's like.
There's also that feeling of going back to that game, is a feeling like you're like entering a household like that's just went through a divorce, and you're like, I don't know.
Yeah, and everyone else is really, really
yeah.
more. I don't know how this works with the metaphor, but like they're much better at dealing with the pain of that divorce than you ever were, and you're like, you're very good at this. I'm not good at dealing with this, and you're like, wow, you're incredible. Especially Titanfall.
It's like on the fence, and then half of it's like, yeah, these are really cool, and you're just like, back to Monster Hunter.
I wonder if the people who play Call of Duty just like get the one or Titanfall or whatever, and they just love seeing people like us drop back in after like 8 months, and they're like, oh, this guy's pretty green. They're like, watch this. And they're just like no look, shoot behind the shoulder. I'm like, I don't think you can do that. They do it, and I'm like, I see the kill cam, and I'm like, well, bravo. I didn't know there's like a new Titan I haven't heard of before, and I'm like, oh, good. That's a good way to die. Yeah, Titanfall 3, when? I'm sorry, Titanfall 2. You guys got cannibalized with your sales. Blame it on EA. I hope they don't kill them.
Did Titanfall 2 happen?
Yeah, it did. It happened in 2017.
Yeah.
Well, no, sorry, 2016. Yeah.
Oh.
It was our Critty. It won for Best Shooter of the Year. Beat out Overwatch for Shooter because honestly, the controls in that game are freaking butter smooth. Oh, ooh, so buttery smooth. I love it so much.
In fact, to be honest, Titanfall 2, I mean, it was good. I would go back and play if the things you were talking about weren't
so true.
You go back to that, and it's like you can't walk 5 feet without getting shot, and I'm just like, okay.
I think of that level that's out in the wilderness with a really tall tower, and I think like that is not a fun level to play in Titanfall because like you get snipers or other people, and like I like dodging around buildings and stuff in that game because that's when you feel like the most badass. But like when you do that level, you see some guy grappling around, you're like, what is he doing? And then he drops, he's like shooting you, and you're like, oh, please stop, sir.
Some players would just tell you to get good though. I mean, they've been playing for a long time.
Yeah, but then like the problem with that game is it had an issue where it's like if their team got like 5 Titans and your team didn't have any, they just move as like a big pack of Titans, and you're like, well, I guess I'll shoot a rocket every once in a while and try to deal with that, like, or someone just punched you off the back of another one. Yeah, Titanfall, what a great game.
Yeah, if it was a smart team with like a big party, it was hard to combat the Titans. But if they were just stupid, but they had all the Titans, you could still you could deal with them, you know.
You see like 2 or 3 clan names with like the little symbols or the little like acronyms.
You're just like, oh, this isn't gonna end well.
Like, oh, I'm sorry that Joe and Drew and I decided to play together tonight as friends. They're like, well, you're gonna get squashed. Yeah. First person shooters, maybe. All right. So tonight, guys, just a little bit, I want to talk about a question that we got in from our good friend Simon. Simon is a wonderful person. He's donated so much time and money to the show, games and stuff. So thank you, Simon. But he asked us this. He said, I want to know why you guys like Marvel movies. He said he liked the most recent Spider-Man film, but he wanted to know why we enjoy them so much. Like, what is it? Why do you guys talk about them? And you're like, I love them so much. Like, what is it? Is it, is it the casting? Is it the action? Is it all of it? What is it? So I kind of wanted to leave it to you guys to start off with here. Joel, I want to start with you. What is it about Marvel films or specific ones that you're like, man, really dig this? This speaks to me.
Really, I think what hits me with the Marvel films is, first off, it's been mentioned there's a formula. I'm pulling that direct from Jimmy's reviews. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you best go check him out.
Definitely do it. There's not a card popping up right here.
Plug.
Yep. There is a bit of a formula. I wouldn't say that everyone is a repeat of itself, but I think, most recently I saw Black Panther. Yeah, there's a formula there. It's present, and then you don't really realize it until you're able to step back and think about what you watched. And but one of the things in that formula is always a good pace. they know when to kind of speed up the sequencing and slow things down and speed it up again to really kind of get the audience engaged, and then kind of lure them into false sense of security, then amp them back up again, and end on high notes, you know. So that's an aspect of Marvel films that I like. And with that, it's mostly examples of that are mostly seen in like the standalones or origin stories, stuff like that. Hence why I use the example of Black Panther. You see it in the Iron Man films. But another thing I enjoy is the just the style. You know, you do a style check on those movies, and it's sharp. It's a feast for the senses. It really is. Most of the Marvel movies feature some cool music, even pop culture music. You know, the current stuff, or even like cool like 80s rock or hair metal. You know, Iron Man when he jumps out of the plane. AC/DC, I'm just like, yeah, like it's cool. You gotta admit, like the little kid in you is just jumping up and down, like, let's find a puddle, I want to jump in it.
Beat his ass.
Okay, like I want to inject one thing. In Avengers, when he shows up to stop Loki from like shooting Cap, like you hear "Shoot to Thrill" because he shows up, like Black Widow's in a helicopter or a Quinjet, and you just hear like he's hacked into it, and he's like playing the music as he arrives with music, and he's like, "What's up?" And it's like, yes, that's a superhero, man. He's a rock star.
That is cool. I mean, show off a little bit and have fun with what you're doing, regardless of how big of a deal it is. Sometimes I don't want the seriousness to disappear, but other times it's very appropriate and it kind of amps the audience up. Black Panther music is another example. I really enjoyed that. Iron Man's always kind of had that, which I enjoy. And that example that you threw out was cool, Jimmy. I almost want to watch that again.
Oh, you will.
I'm pretty sure it's Shoot to Thrill. It's mostly AC/DC, and I love AC/DC, and I absolutely just love that, all that stuff.
Side note, cutscene, my fiance Haley saw AC/DC in concert.
What?
I was like,
thunderstruck, man.
Yeah, dude, that's a concert I would go to.
For sure.
She also saw Kiss.
Dang, dude, I want to rock and roll all night, party every day is what I sing when I'm on a tube out on the lake. I sing that as I'm going across the water, getting pulled by the boat. It's a jolly time.
It's a Minnesota thing, by the way.
Yeah, people are like, what is he talking about?
Like, why are you on a tube?
Yeah, because
why would you go up with water?
Yeah, in the summer, by the way. People are like, is he doing this in the winter? Very dangerous on the ice, but I've done it.
No, that's fun on the ice in the winter. That'd be a blast. And you won't drown.
Mm-hmm. You just break your neck,
presumably. Yeah, where was I? Style check. I love the style. I love the, like I said before when we were talking, Brigitte from Overwatch. I was talking about how I'm a very aesthetic and design oriented person. Marvel strikes every chord perfectly. I like the environments that they show. I like that there's relation and relativeness to the real world, New York City, Russia, whatever, yada yada. It all jives and kind of makes it feel more impactful because of that, which I like. Obviously, Wakanda fictional area, but whatever. Yeah, it just strikes all the chords. I think there's always an injection of humor. However, not every Marvel film, doses you with the right amount of humor. Humor can be overdone, and humor can, what's the word? Humor can dilute the film.
Detract from a serious movie.
Undercut, dilute the seriousness of a film, and kind of disjunct you from what you're watching. You're kind of just like, kind of takes you out of the experience a little bit. Like, oh, this is kind of hokey. You know what I mean? So I prefer a little seriousness to my films with a little dose of humor in the right areas. Timing is important. So, yeah, I just think the overall, the style, just the overall style, the pace, and the emotional feelings that they try and strike with you.
Levi, how about you, man? What are the things about Marvel films or any specific Marvel films that you really love?
Oh, I gotta piggyback on things, not to copy Joe. No, Joe, what you said is beautiful. So
when I said it's beautiful,
is beautiful.
Oh, that's the nicest thing he's ever said to Joe.
Everybody likes McDonald's.
There's actually a comment about McDonald's and Marvel films soon that I'll read, so it's perfect. It's perfect.
I feel like as much as people like to bitch about adaptations and if they don't always live up to what people remember them being, you know, Harry Potter books, Hunger Games books, the comic books, people always love to bitch about an adaptation, but it's also a guilty pleasure of people. They love to see it come alive on the screen, and Marvel found a way to capture that magic and make it work. And I mean, if we had a string of films like The Incredible Hulk, we would not be where we're at now with this franchise. It would be garbage, and people would be like, "F you, you and DC, you just can't do shit." No, I mean they got it right. That's the best way to put it. They got it right. Casting, for the most part, costumes, sets, CGI, they just did it. Kudos to them. You know, people can feel comfortable spending their money on a film like Black Panther now without any notion of the character, or like a Spider-Man or Doctor Strange, for example. People will go to these films because they're comfortable knowing that Marvel's going to kill it with whatever they do.
Yeah. They've made people feel confident to go to the theaters, right?
Yeah. Even if you're not like completely sold on the film, like Ragnarok, you'll still have fun. By golly, you will still have a good time, and you'll laugh, and you'll be like, wow, that was cool. And Hulk is awesome, even if it's not like the best, you know, film out there, as far as like story wise. And you know, Ragnarok detracts a little bit from the seriousness, but and it's not like a, you know, it's not like a super serious movie, but yeah, they did it right. They do it right every time.
Yeah, cool. You guys said so much. It's like hard because I was thinking of this and that, but you guys said it. I think that what they do really well, DC characters and superheroes are the ones you look up to. They're the ones, they're kind of unobtainable, especially like Superman. He's kind of like the embodiment of like courage and trust and, you know, all that justice. The Marvel characters, they're the ones we relate to, and I think that's what they do super well here. We talk about these films, like Levi said, like Doctor Strange, you look like Ant-Man or Guardians of the Galaxy. They make all these weird characters really relatable. Like these powers that are like, but they're all like, for the most part, still humans or humanoid or something like that. Makes you say like, hey, I can relate to that person in that moment. I think that's why Peter Parker, like as Spider-Man, is one of those ones that stands the test of time, because you're like, man, I've felt like Peter a lot of days, you know. I'm like, yeah, I try my best, just keep working at it, but it doesn't always pan out the way I want it. Even with the superpowers, like you can't make his life work the way he wants it to. But I look at him and then, you know, Steve Rogers by proxy as like giving a person without abilities power. You give the weak person, you give the poor person, you give the person who doesn't have any true strength or whatever, or maybe has the truest strength, you know, in showing that restraint once they get the power. That's the really fascinating stuff to me. They have such a juxtaposition between somebody like that, and then you have like Tony Stark, who's the guy who's been given everything in his life and has like a couple of bad weeks in the desert and is like, I'm changing my life completely. And then you have all those characters interact together throughout multiple movies. They grow, they change, but you see seeds planted. Look back at the first Avengers. You can see Civil War start right there. And you're like Steve and Tony don't like each other. And you're like, we have to get along to work together to move forward. But then when Civil War comes around, you're like, yeah, I get why they would fight. Like, whereas with the Batman and Superman stuff, it feels more rushed. Like Marvel's had time to build into this thing. It's so much more rewarding for people who've watched every movie. And even if you haven't, you're still going to be fine. If you've never seen anything else in Marvel, if you just watch Black Panther, you'd get it. You know, like if you watch Avengers, you might be like, okay, you know, I'm not exactly sure, but you'd understand after a few minutes. You'd be like, okay, that person has these powers and they're friends with that person and they don't like this person. Okay. But it's not too hard to follow. And you're right, there is a formula. And a lot of these origin formulas are kind of like, hey, there's a villain who's just the same powers as you, but they went nuts. that's kind of boring, and I think they're going to move away from that because they've kind of established all their main characters for the most part. So we probably won't see that too much longer. But besides that, I mean, those origin stories are still really fun. You go back and watch that original Iron Man, that's a fun movie. Like all these movies are fun. Like you don't come away from it and you're like Joe had said, they end on a high note. They do a good job of doing the peaks and valleys, but they always end up here. They never end like woof. Like like some of these other movies where you're like, well, I guess that hero's dead. And you know, I guess people are like, the seriousness. They're like, all right, like if there aren't heroes dying, why should I take this seriously? And they do have heroes die from time to time, but it's not as big of a deal, you know, because like the drama is in the story itself, you know, where it's like scratching at the door, like it's yeah, they're like, how dare you, we love DC, dog comics, but I think that the drama is really, it's out of the relationships that you see strained. Like you want these people to be friends, and you can see the moments that they are friends, they work together, they fight together, they do combined attacks, which honestly, like in the first Avengers, watching Iron Man shoot Cap's shield and do like a laser beam, it made me think back to the Ultimate Alliance games, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's like my childhood, like in this beautiful moment of just like working together and coming to life, like Levi had said. And then watching them and being heartbroken when they fight against each other, it's like, oh no, like please, no, friends, why? So yeah, I think it's so good. The casting is just like almost perfect. Like it's so hard to find characters in these movies that are bad, you know, that have stuck with them. Like especially like Black Panther, the casting was perfect. But, like, you know, Captain America is like perfect. Like Ant-Man, Doctor Strange, like all that stuff, just such perfect casting. And I'm really hoping that the same is with Brie Larson when she's Captain Marvel. You know, like I'm hoping that is like perfect casting. I'm thinking it is. I'm hoping it is. But I look at Samuel Jackson's Nick Fury. The guy was like, he even said like in the back in the day when they started making those newer Nick Furies, because the older Nick Fury was white and had hair, is more like a David Hasselhoff looking guy, which is kind of funny because they made a movie about that. And then when they made the newer Nick Fury, he's like, he looked at it and was like, this is me. I need to be this guy because like they made a comic about me. And I was like, yeah, he's like perfect and in the role as Nick Fury. So yeah, I just think they're great. They're always adapting and changing. I look at the Cap trilogy and how that changes all the time. Iron Man's a little samey between 1 and 2, but I feel like I need to let Ranger in here. Like, cause I think that's...
He wants to come give his 2 cents.
Let's see. Okay, Ranger, do you want to come in? Come on in back. There you go.
I like how you knew that was Ranger.
He's like, hi, bud. Ranger, what do you think about these movies? Oh. Yeah, I know. Okay, that's okay.
I like how you knew it was Ranger.
I know my pups. He's like, yes, thank you so much. But yeah, I think that's the reasons why. It's not perfect, like we said. Those movies, they do feel formulaic at times, but overall, they make me leave the theater with that like kind of fun theater vibe. Like I didn't waste my time or my money. And there's always these little snippets. I love the little after credits stuff because it's a good way to respect the people somewhat, you know, the people in the credits themselves, but it's a little tease for what's next. It's always a breadcrumb trail. It's always like, oh, what's next? Do I have to go home and research something? Because after Avengers, people look to me like, who's the purple guy? And I didn't know. I was like, I'll go search it. Oh, his name's Thanos. Who's that guy? Now we all know who Thanos is. Like, and I just hope, like, Marvel makes me hopeful. I hope the X-Men come in. I hope the Fantastic Four come in. I hope all this stuff goes on for as long as it can, because I love this universe and I want to see where it goes. So
I think it'll be weird when the X-Men get in there.
Maybe. Yeah.
Sooner or later, Disney's just going to buy it all, and then we'll get actual Superman and Batman in an Avengers film.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. You know, I know it sounds crazy, but I would absolutely love to see that crossover happen one day, because it has in the comics a few times, and they don't have to have clear winners like Superman beats Hulk definitively or whatever. Like, you can do those things where you're like, okay, who won? Like, Hulkbuster beats Hulk at that one fight. And you're like, does it really? Like, you know, like he gets one get hit off, but they're like, we had to end this scene, go on forever. But yeah, that'd be cool. I would like to see that, but I want to see DC be its separate thing, though. I want DC to be better, and I want them to make Marvel not fat and lazy. I want there to be that competition. Right, Ranger? He's like, yes, I completely agree with you. But yeah, do you guys have anything else to add to that? Do you have any other things you want to say about Marvel, like why we love the Marvel films?
Oh, I think I covered my piece.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Cool. That's it then. Well, thank you, Simon. That was such a great a topic. I love those broad topics.
Yeah, great
topic. I want those types of things. Like, I don't need to like do next week like, why do we hate DC? It's like, that's not the case. It's just like, why are people still enjoying Marvel? And clearly the box office numbers show that people really love these movies, you know, regardless of how each one does alone. They still seem to do well as a whole, as you know, when they come together. Like Avengers feels like an event, and what I tell people is like Avengers and Marvel is kind of like my generation's Star Wars in a lot of ways, because like we grew up watching this stuff and maybe reading the comics and doing all that, and then seeing them come to life and build towards this thing organically. And that's just really cool to see. Like 10 years of building towards this moment with Infinity War. Will it live up to expectations? Probably not. And it'll probably have a cliffhanger, but I'm just really excited to see it, you know, regardless. So yeah, Marvel. I love it. Is it perfect? No, but I mean, nothing is. So yeah. Faithful adaptations. Also the budget.
We talk about Marvel a lot on this channel, but I was going to say, make something better then.
Yeah. Oh, dude, that's such a good thing to say, man. Yeah, honestly, somebody make something better, because, like, you know, Joe, you're talking about the style and stuff, but like they put budget in these movies. Like they don't it's not a half measure. You know, like when they add Black Panther to like Civil War, like they're not like, oh, we'll just put like some sort of black cat suit on him. But it's so detailed. Like everything they do is just like, the only thing that's ever been bad was Captain America's suit in the first Avengers. Even Joss Whedon said it wasn't that great. It was like, what were you doing?
It was rough.
Yeah, it was rough is a good way to put it. Yeah, well, believe it or not, gentlemen, it's that time of the segment. It's that time of the show where we get into the segment I like to call, Joe likes to call, Levi likes to call, that we all like to call Time Killers.
Time magic.
Time for killers. Time for killing. No, it's Time Killers. It's the games we've been playing, the movies we've been watching, TV shows we've been viewing. Levi, besides Monster Hunter World, I have to preface this all the time, what else have you been playing or watching or doing?
I have actually just been rewatching some Marvel films. I just finished Age of Ultron. Black Panther was astounding. Watched the review. No, I haven't been having much more time for games besides what I can for Monster Hunter. But yeah, I've been watching some old Marvel films just because they're fun.
What is your favorite character from Age of Ultron? Is there any of the new ones that you liked? I know you weren't a huge fan of Quicksilver.
Claw.
Oh, dude, I keep forgetting he's in that movie. I love him so much. Andy Serkis needs more like in-person work. Oh my goodness.
I think maybe James Spader got a little underrated.
Yes.
He was a little bit underrated for that movie because he did a fantastic job.
One of my favorite lines ever, and they're like talking about vibranium. He's like, it's the most, you know, diverse metal on the planet. And what do? They turned it into a frisbee. And I was like, such a great line, because a robot would be like, this is so
He's
stupid.
So sassy. Like, my goodness. I love his quips, and he's smart. It's funny.
But he's also kind of dumb sometimes, too. He's like, his humans will come together and make smaller humans. Children, that's the word I was looking for. And you're like, okay. A little different than the regular Ultron we'd normally get, but I like that, because a normal Ultron will just be like, you know, I've come to destroy all of you, humans are bad, where he's kind of like throwing the sass. And I like the whole, like, this is the part where I'm supposed to divulge my entire evil plan, and then he just attacks everybody, and you're like, cool. Yeah, cool, man. Joe, how about you, man? Besides Monster Hunter, what have you been killing time with there, pal?
Tough question. I watched some movies, some comedy, maybe a romantic comedy on Netflix. Forget what it was called. You and Me something.
Dupree.
No, it had Alexandria Dudero in there, and then the guy from whatever. It's not even worth mentioning. I haven't been killing time with a lot except for Monster Hunter whenever I can fit it in. So.
That's okay. I have a question for you both about that quick, but yeah, we'll do this quick. Favorite monster right now in Monster Hunter? To hunt, not just favorite looking. Joe, just one word. All I need is one word. What's your favorite one to hunt?
Val Hazak.
Oh, okay. All right. And Levi?
Toby.
Toby Kadachi.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Nergigante for me. I feel like people are still working towards some of these enemies, so I don't like want to like ruin them and get into it too much. But yeah, yeah. Besides Monster Hunter for me though, I finished the first season of Dragon Ball Z. I'm trying to find a way to like watch some Dragon Ball Z Kai. I know Levi's like you should get the Funimation app thing. I'm like, maybe, but I've actually been watching old Naruto Shippuden stuff because I love Naruto, and I just got back into it. And I just watched a little bit of it on Netflix, and they didn't have the Shippuden stuff on there, so I watched it.
Naruto.
Maybe I will one day, just for like older Sasuke. I just want to watch adult Sasuke. That's all I care.
Someone please pledge $5 so Jimmy can get the Funimation app.
The thing is, I watched the entirety of Code Geass: The Lelouch of the Rebellion, which everyone should watch for free on the Funimation app, and I was like, sweet, maybe they put all their anime on here for free. No, I think that was
sponsored, by the way. We're still waiting on that tech Funimation.
Yeah, Funimation. Come on, where is it? But I love that show, and I was like, oh, cool. Maybe these other ones are free. No, I think Code Geass is just not very popular, so that's all there is to it. Yeah, there we go. Cool. Time killing time. So, guys, it's time to move into my favorite segment of the show: community feedback and questions. Community feedback and questions. And we got some really good questions this week. We actually got some from our Discord, which is always great. So, this one comes in from Missile Mage, everybody. If you were a pro wrestler, what would your gimmick be? Levi, what would your gimmick be as a pro wrestler? When you're walking in, maybe a move, what would be your thing?
I would be a wrestler who can't wrestle, but just trolls people.
Would you just walk out and just yell at people?
Yep, just troll.
Perfect. Would you be the troll?
Yep.
Would you be in like a suit?
A troll suit.
Yeah, so like, you look like a troll?
No, it would just have like a troll face on it, like that troll meme face.
Okay, fair enough. I was kind of hoping you'd be a troll, and then they could wheel you out on little like a stage thing that had like a little bridge over the top of you.
We're gonna go with that. Yeah,
that would be incredible. I would love to watch that. Joe, how about you, man? What would your pro wrestling gimmick be?
I don't even know. First of all, I wouldn't be pro wrestling. Like, stinking A. What is a gimmick really?
Well, like, you
know, like John Cena doing the.
I kind of, but sometimes it's a little more flashy. Like, I think of like the Undertaker, and he's got like the hat and like a lantern and stuff like that, and he's like supposed to be like the Undertaker, like, you know, works in a graveyard and stuff. Yeah. This is whatever speaks to you, man. It's weird. It's like you would think I didn't prep you at this, and I gave you all this time.
No, you did. And I initially was like, I've got nothing. Yeah, I don't know. I can't take it seriously whatsoever. I can't even watch it, so I can't even think of what I would.
We just need one gimmick, one move even. We'll take a move. Just name something. And
Falcon Punch.
Falcon Punch. No, that'd be hilarious. Nintendo would come for you immediately.
Joe would totally be the character that does the Falcon Punch. Let's be
real. For sure. Yeah, he's spamming that B button. Like, Falcon Punch,
Falcon Punch. Sure. Falcon Punch for sure. Oh.
Yeah, because that's a Nintendo thing. That's okay. I would say for me, I would be called the Gadget Guy. And what I would do is I would have like a little wrist like monitor thing, and like during the match I'd hit some buttons, and then out of the little the sides of the ring, like little smoke things would pop off, and I'd have like a helmet on stuff. I could still see them, but they'd be like, oh no, it's smoke. But like everyone would know that's my gimmick, but it would always surprise a new wrestler, and I'd be able to fight them without them seeing me. They'd be like, we'd be dodging around, and they'd be like, I can't see them. They just see like my red eyes like on my helmet visor. Yeah, that'd be me. That'd be sick. Smoke everywhere. Gadget Guy. That's one gadget. What are the others? Maybe I electrify the ring, but it wouldn't really be electrified. It's like they would joke because that would be intense and maybe kill somebody. Next question comes in from Discart at Discart Guy on Twitter. He said, which gaming console and game has the most nostalgic value for you? Joe, you got something for us?
Is it stupid that I say Xbox One because all my fondest memories have come from that console?
Okay, you think? Well, you can go back a little bit further. I know you wax nostalgic about Pokemon back in the day a little bit.
No, I could go back to Xbox 360 and say I love playing Black Ops 1 with my buds.
Yeah, it's nostalgic. There's a game in a console.
Yeah.
Levi, how about you, man? Is there any game, console or game in specific that makes you the most nostalgic?
Ooh, I would say, God, N64. I just have such fond memories of like playing some of those games because that was the first 3D console I ever played. So I was just amazed by everything, and then came the PlayStation and everything else after that. But
yeah, but is there any game in particular on the N64?
oh,
Is it just
Ocarina. You know what I'm gonna say.
Oh no, I didn't. Well, see, I was gonna say N64 as well because I just think of that, and I think of Super Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
Like every time that old Super Smash Brothers like that comes on, I'm like, like good old fashioned times. I just I like.
I would walk over to your house and we would play.
I loved it, just fighting, punching your buddies, using that Kirby pile drive, grab somebody, just jump up in the air and just slam them to the ground. It's like, so cool, man. I love the N64. As you can see Ness over here and Luigi next to Assassin's Creed. I've got the old like OG 12 roster of them. But yeah, that's probably the ones most specifically. If it isn't like Pokemon Red and Blue, like that, like they're right up there around the same time for me. So yeah, wow, formative years, so good.
We're lucky.
We're very lucky. We're super lucky. By the way, I forgot to mention these. We had some actual community feedback here too. Asked other people why they liked Marvel films. So Ryan Lehman, he says, Marvel movies tell great stories that keep the audience interested. Marvel also seamlessly brings together their heroes for even more action and the ability to have the heroes interact with each other to grow or better define the heroes, which is really good. And then we also had this. If I can find it on Discord here, is the question. Missile Mage says, I like Marvel because they aren't just superhero stories. They're more stories that have superheroes in them. The characters are also very relatable for being superpowered and such. The movies are usually far from perfect, but they're always fun and will have something fun in them that you will enjoy. I'd maybe call it the McDonald's effect. No matter what you have on the menu, it still has that Marvel flavor to it. They may have comedic moments that make some moments not mean as much as they should sometimes. See Thor Ragnarok. That might stop them from being the greatest films ever made. But by sprinkling that humor throughout everything, it'll often make the characters feel more well-rounded, as well as having something to smile at. It's possibly a safer way of movie making, but it works for what they're going for. I have no idea if that's coherent, is what he says after that. I think it's definitely coherent. I think that's really good. Well done. Yeah, I completely agree. Last question. It does also come in from him. He says, we were talking about this before the show, but we're talking about AI in games and our Palicos, more specifically Monster Hunter. But he says, AI in games is getting better every year. Enemies having better AI is always great. But what are your opinions on allies? Games like Final Fantasy XII let you program your allies, and Assassin's Creed games in the past have let you use your fellow assassins doing work for you. Do you like seeing your allies do what they should do without your input, or do you feel like that's too much of the game playing itself? Levi, how about you, man? How do you feel about AI in games? AI partners, buddies?
No, I feel like well-executed AI is good. I mean, there's a difference between the AI in like Halo, which is just god awful, and then there's, then we have like Final Fantasy 12, where we actually have some like helpful buddies that assist you. I feel like if it's done right, it's okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Joe, how about you, man? What do you think about AI like partners in games? So is like too much of them playing itself, or do you like how it works?
AI partners in games?
Yeah, it's like Ghost Recon or something like that, where you're like, if we weren't working with us, if you're like, oh, that's the AI, like if it's too good, is it like, okay, I don't even have to play the game?
I think it's come a long way. I think Ghost Recon Wildlands is a good example. I feel like you could command and control them fairly well. It wasn't perfect, but I don't expect it to be. But it looked good. They functioned. They did what you want them to for the most part. I look at Monster Hunter World. I look at the Palico. That's a prime example, and I feel like the Palico works out fairly well. Draws aggro, does what you want it to, heals you when you need it for the most part. Pretty handy, I'd say.
Yeah. He mentioned Assassin's Creed, and it reminded me that back in the day, you could like call in assassins, like you just be like, and then they drop down on somebody. It's like, oh, are they always following me? But I like having AI that I give a specific command to that does it pretty quickly. It's like giving my character an input and seeing it cause and effect. That's why I love games so much. So I think if they're doing too much by themselves, you're like, you're kind of like, it's almost too much. But in Ghost Recon, you can be like, hey guys, go hang out in that bush. I'm going to do this by myself. Or you can be like, hey guys, can you all sight up on these 2 or 3 guys and they won't miss their shot? And I'm like, cool, thank you. Yeah. So I think there has to be some control there. Because if you just let it run rampant, it's kind of like, and sometimes they make bad calls. So I look at games like The Last of Us, which is weird because like you have to crouch and sneak around, but then your little partner Ellie, like she could like knock everything over and run past the bad guy, and it's like the game is like, okay, that was out of your control, so we're not going to call you on it. It's like the zombie wouldn't notice her, but they would notice you. So it's like sometimes it can ruin the immersion if the AI is like a little too dumb, or if they're like so dumb they keep getting caught and you're like, ugh. So
yeah.
And stealth is usually the worst for AI because you're like, you go here, and then you like tell your friend, you're like, come here, come quick, and they're like moving, you're like, come on, let's go. So yeah, fine line, but AI has definitely gotten better, for partners. So yeah, cool, great questions. Well, if you ever have a question for the show, all you have to do is tweet the hashtag Critical Podcast to any of us. You can tweet at our official account, which is @GoCritical. It's capital G, the capital C, or you can tweet at me personally. I'm at JimmyGood013 over on Twitter. If you want to tweet at Joe, you can tweet at
Lever_627. That's Lever just like Beaver, only with an L.
Exactly. Or if you'd like to tweet something specifically to our dear friend Levi, you can tweet at.
Yep, I'm Levi Fletcher. Levi just like the jeans.
Yes, exactly. We all have a just like almost. I need to get a just like. Well, believe it or not, Levi is actually streaming later tonight, so we got to wrap this up. But we are streaming over on twitch.tv/critical reviews, I believe. So go check us out over there. Hang out with us sometime. I'm usually on the weekdays, like afternoons usually. Levi's sometimes occasionally on like a night. So always check out the Twitter, the official account. We'll let you know when we're going live. So yeah, I want to thank a few people. I want to thank This Is Dale for amazing intro and outro music you hear for every episode of the show. And I want to thank the one and only, the very talented Mr. Joran Evers, the guy who does pretty much all the art you see here on the show. If you ever want a commission done by him, check him out at Naraj28 or at Jade Circle Art over on Twitter. Or you can check out his Instagram, which is really excellent because you can see what he's working on. It's just fun to look through. Honestly, just peruse through all of it. But if you want to help us and help Joran at the same time, you can check out patreon.com/critical reviews. Chuck in $1, you can get an avatar with your custom face on there. It really helps. Even $1 a month, that's huge to us. And $1 is not really that much, comparatively to like the movies you see, which are like up to like $11 or $12 a time now. It's like, okay, all right, guys. But yeah, you can get one of these cool avatars and a lot of cool rewards depending on what level you donate at. But go check us out over there. And yeah, that really helps. But if you can't do that, share us with a friend. That helps a ton as well. So thank you guys so much for being on the show. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Levi. Appreciate you boys talking Marvel, talking Overwatch, talking the things we love so much. Yeah.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Oh, you don't have to thank me. Just thank you for being here. I love talking to you guys. Also, by the way, my cool shirt here today, I couldn't not talk about it for a second. It's Naruto and Sasuke, if you can't see it. Levi bought it as a gift for me. Thank you, Levi. I don't know what it says. If someone could translate that or this quick, yeah, that'd be great. Thank you. Just send those in for next week. That'd be wonderful. Thank you so much. Anyway, thank you guys so much.
I don't know what it says.
Yeah, I do. Love and hugs to all of you. And just remember to adapt and overcome. And we'll see you next time. Goodbye.